But you said there are decades when nothing happens, and there are weeks when Bitcoin happens.
So every decade, there's some profound paradigm shift. It's such an out-of-the-blue idea that no one can conceive of why you would even want it. What if I can encrypt energy? What if I can encrypt money such that nobody on earth, no government can debase it, no corporation can steal it? I don't trust anybody. People don't trust governments, right? We're at an all-time low in public trust of institutions. It doesn't matter what government. And they don't trust companies. And why? For good reason, because companies are influenced by governments, right? Right? If you're in America, you're certainly not going to trust a company in China. And if you're in China, you're certainly not going to trust a company in America. And then, a lot of people that don't trust domestic companies, and the Europeans and the Australians don't trust American companies either. So there's a lot of lack of trust. So if I can't trust that, then what can I trust? Where am I going to put my money? I'm going to do a slight detour here, Brian, but this is very interesting that I want to share with your listeners, which is I track the financial market since we embarked on our Bitcoin strategy. So here is what's happened since August 10th, 2020, when we adopted Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset. Bitcoin is up 65%. MicroStrategy stock, and MicroStrategy's bought almost $4 billion, not quite, but nearly $4 billion of Bitcoin. MicroStrategy stock is up 66%. So we are tracking slightly ahead of Bitcoin. The S&P is up 14%. The NASDAQ is up 4%. Whoa, 4%. All of big tech is up 4%. Gold is down 18%. And, bonds, the ultra-safe bonds, long-term bonds, down 18%.
Oof.
So in terms of asset classes, the crazy, volatile Bitcoin is the best performing of all those major assets. And then you can say to yourself, well, I'm just going to invest in stocks. Okay, let's look at big tech. Google's up 37%, Apple's up 32%, Microsoft's up 16%, Amazon is down 22%, Facebook is down 45%, and Netflix is down 52%. Okay, little MicroStrategy, no one ever heard of, up 66%. Would you have guessed that a mid-sized software company, low-growth, mid-sized software company nobody ever heard of, would outperform Google in the last 2 years by a factor of 2? And so last point I make, we compete against companies 100 times as big as us. Oracle, 100 times bigger than us. They're up 25%, IBM's up 3%, Salesforce is down 23%, SAP's down 47%. Okay, so what is the lesson of that? The lesson is we're in the middle of chaos. There is no place to hide. Your choice is you could buy gold, but gold is dead metal and it's just getting ground into the dirt, right? I can seize your gold. Gold is the half-life of money, and gold is 35 years. And you can't put gold on 8 billion iPhones. So the problem is there's no tech in gold, and it was a good idea in the 19th century, and it's centralized. Governments can seize it, and the gold miners keep debasing it. They keep mining more gold, right? In the best year, you get 2% more. In the worst year, someone seizes a bunch of gold, dump it on the market, you get more than 2%. So people are looking for a safe haven. What's it going to be? Property in Africa? Property in Venezuela? Can't have property in North Korea. Property in Argentina? A business? A business where? A business in Argentina where the currency collapses? What good are your cash flows if the currency that you generate the cash flows are collapses in value? I think here's the big idea. Really big idea. Everybody in the world has to decide where they're going to locate their family. What is Bitcoin, a digital commodity? Do I have to deal with that? Well, now Fidelity's talking about rolling out the 34 million retail accounts. You've got the government embracing crypto assets, saying we better figure it out. Congress, senators getting educated on it. The CFTC, the SEC getting educated on it. Big institutional investors starting to take Bitcoin positions. the media. Now you've got Bloomberg covering crypto. You've got CNBC covering crypto. You've got an entire world, media analysts, politicians, financiers, and they're all starting to figure this out. But I still say we're early, right? This paradigm shift takes a decade. And maybe the first decade was the embers of a flame flickering from 2009 to 2020. How do we move forward? And, to summarize on Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin is it's very volatile. It's getting jerked around. All risk assets are getting jerked around. If you look at one of the more interesting things, right? The 2-year, the 2-year Treasury was 16 basis points a year ago, and it's currently like 3.9%. We went from 16 basis points to 390 basis points on short-term money. The mortgage rate on a 30-year mortgage, has gone from 2.7% to 6% in 12 months, right? The yield curve is inverted. You get paid higher interest on a 2-year loan to the federal government than on a 30-year loan. The 30-year loan is 350 basis points. So summary of all this, it's this. We had an unprecedented expansion of the money supply in March of 2020, where we just pegged interest rates to zero, and the bankers said we're going to keep interest rates at zero for the next 4 years. They literally implied, they said not until 2024 will we raise interest rates. Okay, well, that's one panic. And now we've got the other extreme, which is the fastest tightening of the money supply, like one of those oh crap moments. Oops, I think we overdid it on one side. Now we overdid it on the other side. And what you see is risk assets. They're all getting hammered down, Bitcoin included. But look, all financial assets, bonds hammered 20%, NASDAQ hammered 30%, S&P, gold hammered, silver hammered, and Bitcoin hammered. But on the other hand, tangible assets, oil, natural gas, food, any type of energy, they're all shooting up. Right. And I think people are going through this moment where they're like, I guess I'm going to freeze to death or starve to death unless I have some of that tangible commodity stuff. And the financial stuff, I guess I'll trade it. And meanwhile, the politicians, they play with the little knobs, attempting to do good. And it turns out that it's very difficult for humanity, for any human being, to actually make adjustments fast enough and intricately enough so that they can do good without probably doing more harm than good. And that's where we find ourselves right now.